duplicate the conditions that happened right after the Big Bang. I watch a lot of that shit, and then I just watch people play pool. I watch people play pool, and I watch people make furniture, people cook. I'm just trying I'm just trying to
But that's so heavy. I heard you and Kat talking about purity. And as a matter of fact, it was part of the reason I was afraid to come here. Why? I heard you talk about the re-explosion of... It's just when you hear that kind of shit and you're like, I don't want to be here like, pussy crazy, huh? I don't want to be that guy, So it's intimidating to watch intelligent people have an exchange and say, I got to go there.
Is it?
Oh, yeah.
Well,
You don't want to be the first idiot in the room. Nobody.
Oh, you definitely would be the first idiot on this show. And you're not an idiot anyway, but there's been plenty of really fucking dumb people on this show that were great.
But do you know somebody that is really intelligent and conversation with them is intimidating?
Oh, sure.
So I was afraid of this room. I mean, I know people like Bill Clinton. The first time I sat and talked to Bill Clinton, not on the air, or the second time, I guess I should say, it was kind of daunting because no matter what your politics is, he's a really smart guy.
Yeah.
Cat Williams is the same way. That motherfucker read a lot more books than I read.
Well, Cat's brilliant. I mean, you can't be that funny and not be very intelligent.
It's the reason Bill Cosby was so funny. He was a bright man. Uh-oh. I saw something. Bing.
That's a problematic subject. Was also Bill Clinton. I wish Bill Clinton didn't have so many problems because I would like to talk to him. I would love to have to sit down with him on a podcast. The problem is, like, how do you sit down and not talk about all the chaos and all the nutty shit and the Epstein files and all the other shit? Like, you kind of almost have to talk about it. So it's too bad. Because I think he's a fascinating person. And I think he's one of the greatest presidents of all time, for sure. And if you go back and look at what he accomplished during his administration, they balanced the budget. There was like one of the first times in the history of this fucking country that we didn't have a gigantic debt. Now our debt's like 39 trillion. It's crazy.
Oh, okay.
Like, everybody's so bad at balancing the budget. And you go back and listen to him talk when he was running for president, he's like super sensible. Like, everything he said made sense.
And didn't he move a little to the right?
Well, I mean, it wasn't to the right. It was just sensible. Like, what is to the right and what is to the left? It doesn't mean anything
it's
anymore.
accepting that a lot of things are valuable that are not a part of your party's philosophy. I think we have to be willing to compromise and move a little bit. And that goes for all politicians. We have to be able to move a little bit to be logical and serve all of America.
For sure. But I think the problem is parties all have to agree. And then they form ideologies that you cannot stray from. So if you're one of those people that says, like, hey, maybe an open border's a bad idea because terrorists can come through. Like, no, no one's illegal on stolen land. Everybody gets crazy because there's a party line that you have to stick with. This is today. Today, things are incredibly polarizing. But if you go back and listen to some of the things that Clinton was saying when he was running for president and when he was president, boy, these are like almost right-wing talking points in a lot of ways. But they're not. But it's not
a little
really,
to the right.
But it's not really right-wing. It's just sensible. Like, what is right and what is left? Left used to be, first of all, freedom of speech was of paramount importance. It used to be that they were very open-minded. It used to be like that education was of crucial importance, and that discourse was crucially important, and that you have to look out for citizens in sense of like having social safety nets and having welfare programs and food stamps and all those things which are really important for a society because not everybody is in the same position in life. And if we're a community of people, which is what a country's supposed to be, you're supposed to look out for everyone. That's sensible. That's what the left used to be. And then it became trans women are women. Men can get pregnant. Like,
and by the way, when you deal with left and right, you have to almost attach a year because we've seen parties change. I'm always reminded that the Democratic Party was the party of the Klan.
Mm.
if you go far
Right.
enough back. So I'm a Republican. I
Not
have
good
to
at
look at
seeing
it
that.
all.
Well,
And
wasn't Lincoln a Republican? I believe
I
Lincoln
Yes.
was a
think
Republican.
yeah.
I think the
Lincoln was
Republicans
Republican.
were the ones who were trying to abolish slavery.
Yeah.
There was a lot of there's a lot of weird things that shift back and
Hey,
forth,
mate,
and that
let's love your stream.
you think
Well,
of
how do you love my stream
right
if I just
wing
started
and
streaming?
left wing in today's
I'm gonna take
standards.
a
Like
wild guess
we
there,
were
Rob,
playing a
too.
clip of
I think
Hillary
you're a
Clinton the other
bot.
day when she was running for president. I think was it 2008 or 2012?
I'm gonna put on my
Eight. When she was
my
she was running for president.
my
She's like,
Miss
if
Cleo
you're
fucking
here
turban.
illegal from another country, you should have to pay a stiff penalty. You
Good
should have
evening,
to
Cleo.
learn
Call me
English.
now.
And if
I
you
tell
have
you
any
your
criminal
fortune,
history whatsoever,
and I tell
no
you a
questions
joke.
asked. You get out of the
Give me
country. And
your
everyone's
money,
cheering like,
and
Yeah,
get that
that
suit up,
lady's
please.
MAGA. That sounds completely MAGA.
yeah.
And
That's why I say when you deal with Democrat, Republican, you have to attach a year because it's
yes.
evolved and changed many
Well,
times.
that's all. You're just being manipulated. And
What
you're
did
being
you, Nana?
manipulated by these two teams. And you have to pick a team. You have to decide which team you on.
I hate that.
It's
Somebody
so
fucking,
stupid. I'm politically
somebody come
homeless. I've
join me
always
in some
been I've
gas
been
station.
politically homeless for a long fucking time.
Uh,
Neither one of them make any sense to me. We need like a logical
whoever
centrist
comes first.
government that like just says like, there's a lot of things that we should do to make this country a better place. We can do these things and we don't have to attach them to left or right and anything that the left says that's logical, the people on the right, they immediately dismiss it because it's coming from the left. And that happens the same where the
Call
left
me
does it
now.
to people on the right. It's dumb. It's a team thing. It's like the Dolphins versus the Raiders. It's just you pick a fucking team
Somebody
and you lay
What
that
a,
first.
team
what a horrible
sucks.
game, by the way.
You pick a team
Oh,
and your team rules and the other team sucks. And there's a
yo.
lot of people out there that
So,
are not that they're not open-minded and they love a good
oh shit.
rigid ideology that they
That's
can
right. My
adhere to.
connection to
So
my
now I don't have to think for
damn,
myself.
bro.
I have a
Somebody,
predetermined pattern of
somebody fucking
opinions that I can
reported me.
just adopt
Mhm.
and I'll just
Somebody
accept
reported me, and
those
I'm
and
suspended
that's
till
how
like
I
the
think and
14th,
that's
I
what I'm going to
believe.
argue with. And it's
When I was young,
Stupid.
I used to, in some jokes, say my heart is Democratic, but my wallet is Republican.
yeah.
But it's not even that simple anymore. It's gotten
No.
much more complicated.
Yeah, much more complicated. It's like, everyone should be anti-fraud, whether you're on the left or on the right. You
Or
shouldn't be
unless you're committing fraud,
right.
then
Right. Then
I'm pro me.
yeah. Well,
Yeah,
I think a
that's
lot
the
of people that,
best.
are certainly benefiting from fraud would like to dismiss it, whether it's the left or the right.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I
It's like
I can't even
we
fucking
have a problem in this country
notice
where
X
we have a
fucking
two-party
portion
system.
actually.
Two-party systems are
I
inherently
can't even
flawed
see the
because
people
there's no
talking in
fucking
chat. I
way
don't think.
that one
Crazy.
side is going to represent you entirely. And it's much more likely if you have like 5, 10, 15 different parties that are all legitimate. Because we don't have
No, I
another
don't know, and
legitimate
they
party.
don't even
If you
tell me
vote
what
for
I did. It's
libertarian, and
so
I've
fucking
voted
stupid.
libertarian before, you're
How are
basically
you just
saying
gonna
fuck these
suspend me?
people.
Yeah,
Fuck
yeah,
these
And
you're
people.
just
I'm
I don't even
voting.
know
you're
what the fuck
jacking
was
up the
done.
Dolphin Raider game.
Who bullshit is that? So you're basically telling me that you're taking
Yeah,
one
I'm
person's
voting
word
for
over another.
rugby.
yeah,
You know what I mean? That's
Fucking
what
exactly.
you're
so
basically
stupid,
saying.
bro.
You're like,
Fucking
I
Phil
can't
Gates.
get
Fucking
behind either one
faggot.
of these motherfuckers, so I'm gonna vote for this guy who has no chance.
I know it's not Bill Gates. I
And I've
fucking
done
did
that
it.
before. I did that with Joe Jorgensen. I did that with Gary Johnson. I voted for both of them.
But why do you think we've not been able to come up with legitimate third, fourth, and fifth
Damn, until this
parties
guy
Well, they
gets
got it
shot.
locked down. They've got it locked down, and
with
it's
with
money.
donations and money?
Yeah, it's money and politics. When they allowed corporations to just essentially give as much as they feel like it, like and when corporations.
And not just corporations, but other countries.
This episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. A lot of people hit stretches where money gets tight, and it's not just the bills, it's the constant pressure, the mental load, the second guessing of every decision, and honestly, one of the biggest difference makers isn't some perfect budget. It's having a solid support system when things feel heavy. And if that support system includes therapy, even better. Because while it can't solve your money problems, it can change your relationship with finances. It can help you manage the stress, anxiety, and maybe even any shame you feel around money. A good place to find a quality therapist is BetterHelp. Plus, they do a lot of the work for you. Literally, all you need to do is answer a few questions, and BetterHelp will match you with a fully qualified therapist online. They have an industry-leading match fulfillment rate, which is a fancy way of saying that they typically get it right the first time. But even if they don't, it's super simple to switch to another therapist. When life feels overwhelming, therapy can help. Sign up and get 10% off at betterhelp.com/JRE. That's betterhelp.com/JRE. Oh, yeah. It's not good. It's not good. Money in politics is the real problem. It should, the whole thing, it's a mess. And then you find out how much money politicians make.
While
when they get in
TSA
office.
guys have nothing.
Yeah.
And politicians are still getting a motherfucking check?
Yes, exactly. Well, I felt that way also about the lockdowns in California. I was like, all these people that are saying that you should have no outdoor dining, your paycheck should be entirely dependent on the GDP of your city. And if your city starts suffering, you should fucking suffer. And I guarantee you want those businesses to open right the fuck back up, because it didn't make any sense. They were doing things for optics only. And they were doing things because they like control. People love control. They love it. And once you give them power over people, they're in the control business. They like to keep that control. And it just gets gross. And they don't have there's no repercussions. They don't get in trouble if all these, like, California lost.
Somebody should be in trouble for the Epstein files. Somebody.
At least one person, please?
Yes. It's crazy that we're sitting around looking at that.
It's crazy.
And we know it, and we say it, but ain't a motherfucking thing we can do about it.
Right. It's like right now, there's some talk about journalists getting in trouble for leaking information about the downed pilot, and that they want to prosecute these journalists. At the same time, no one's being prosecuted for the Epstein files.
Yeah.
That's nuts. That's a sick society.
As a kid, I did magic, right? And there's a thing in magic. I take a coin and put in this hand. There's a thing called misdirection. That's what I just did to you. You looked at that hand. I'm doing some shit right here.
Right.
That's the story of American politics.
Oh, yeah. Whenever something weird's going on. Look, when Monica Lewinsky, when Bill Clinton got caught with Monica Lewinsky, they immediately started bombing some other countries. They're like, we got to distract these people. This is just too complicated.
Yeah.
Look, the Epstein files comes out, we go to war with Iran. It's a good way to get people to stop talking about certain things. You give them a new problem to think about.
Hey, this morning, I wake up in a very nice hotel, thanks to you. Breakfast was paid for, the tip was done, all that shit. It was kind of cool. And I was nervous. And I'm thinking, I'm nervous to go see my guy and talk, which is insane. But then, sometimes you try to focus on why you're really nervous. Why am I so nervous? And I realized it wasn't just coming here. I had watched about a half hour of news. And it was making my stomach hurt.
Yeah.
Because I feel so sad on a lot of levels.
And anxiety.
Yes.
And news just gives me anxiety.
But I gotta, as a comic, I gotta watch because I gotta know everything. I gotta have that mental Rolodex loaded.
Yes.
For crowd work or whatever.
You have to know what's going on in the world, unfortunately. If I wasn't a comic, I would have no social media. I would never consume the news. I would just hide.
Yeah.
I would just go to a peaceful place. I'd probably have a place in the mountains somewhere and just fucking chill. I would not want to have anything to do with any of this bullshit that's going on in the world. And I know a lot of people say, oh, you have to participate and this and that. Like, man, yeah, I guess. But I don't think your participation is having the kind of effect that you'd like it to have. I think it's having an effect on the way you think and feel, much more so, like a disproportionate effect on your mental health and your anxiety levels and all these different things that you cannot control by paying attention to it. You can't control what these fucking people are doing. And it just drives you nuts. And
it's frustrating because we realize, you and I are both millionaires. You a lot more than me. But at the same time, we realize we don't have enough money to really affect it. You
can affect some things, I guess.
Yeah, now that I think about it.
I don't want to. I don't want to affect. If I can affect things in a positive way, I can. Yeah, there's some things that I'd like to do.
We affect things by dispersing information of candidates and helping to inform people.
Well,
but that kind of money that you have to have a dinner in Malibu and later get some shit done that you want to get done because the president is your guy now
Yeah.
or girl.
That's very complicated.
Yeah.
Very, and that kind of complication comes with a lot of scrutiny and a lot of weirdness, and also like you don't really know these people. You support people like for running for president or governor or mayor or whatever. How much do you know them? Are you really sure? Is this like, is there no good option? So you go with the least evil option?
Well,
That's
a lot of us
it.
do that, and
Yeah.
that's really painful to
Yeah.
think that the lesser of two evils is a horrible thing as a philosophy for a place we raise our children.
Right. Yeah. There's no one person that really comes along. We're like, finally, like a peaceful, God-loving person who's just looking out for everybody's best interest, who really only wants to do this because they think they can affect change. And then once they do try to affect change, they get fucking shot because nobody really wants that because they're all making money.
When we were coming up, remember the Sam Kinison bit?
Which bit?
Working across teams is tough, but Asana helps you handle it. Asana AI can spot roadblocks and assign work to keep everything on track. That's how work gets handled. Visit us at asana.com.
I think it was very similar to that. People who have an idea, we kill them.
Oh, that was Bill Hicks.
Oh, it was Hicks.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Hicks had a great bit about that. Yeah, and it's totally true. I mean, anybody that really wants to rock the apple cart, like that person's a problem, you know. And all these people that are making, well, these sociopaths that are making fucking billions of dollars just being cunts, like, they do not want you coming along and waking people up to that and saying, hey, we should put a stop to all this. We should, we should stop these people from like, that's why people cheered when that guy got shot, the United Healthcare guy. He got shot.
Oh, yeah.
People were happy. They were happy. Like, finally.
At first, I thought homie who shot him, I thought it was his eyebrows, because women were going crazy,
He's a hot guy.
Yeah.
He's a good looking guy, too. It was like perfect guy to be like a martyr, like an assassin.
But by the way, have you noticed throughout history, good-looking people get treated differently when it comes to the justice system? They've done experimental trials where the hot guy gets off for murder easy because the 11 women were cool with it,
Well, women are weird with killers. When guys are even serial killers, when they go to jail, women
They get great letters,
it's weird.
proposals.
Weird.
Marry me.
Yeah, even like Richard Ramirez was getting all these proposals while he was in jail.
But the ultimate game for a woman is to be married but not have to live with that motherfucker, So that might be kind of cool,
Kind of. I don't know what it is. I heard someone talk about that, saying that there's women that like men that are capable of killing.
Ooh.
Because back in the day, it was if you needed someone to protect you, you didn't want someone that would hesitate if they were going to kill someone. You wanted someone who has experience killing people. So it's almost like an attractive trait that someone's willing to cross that terrible line and just has no problem murdering people. And if they like you, they won't murder you, but they'll murder other people. Like anybody that's a problem.
I knew a girl who went out with a couple friends of mine, and her MO was to do something publicly that would make the man whip somebody's ass to defend her honor or something.
Oh.
And she because that made her feel better.
That's a crazy bitch. I've been around
yeah.
people like that before. I always got rid of them real quick. I've had a few ladies like that.
You gonna let him say that to me?
I'd be like, why'd you say that to him? The fuck? Don't get me involved in this stupid shit.
But it's hard, man. I was in a club as a young man on Sunset, left the Comedy Store, went down the street to a place called Carlos and Charlie's. And back then they had this garment called a tube top.
Oh,
it was just an elastic, piece about 8 inches, or depending on your breast. And I watched a dude take his finger and just pull the girl's tube top down, titties fell out. And I'm watching her man. He didn't know what to do, because you don't want to fight these guys.
Right.
You almost want to just say, baby, just pull up your top, let's go home,
Yeah.
But he had to fight.
Yeah.
And in that situation, I think you have to fight.
You just definitely shouldn't be there in the first place. That's the problem with going to clubs.
That's the wrong club.
Running into the potential psychopath is just too, like, that's where they go. Where people act like cunts. That's where they go.
When is the last time you went to a club?
Oh, I never go to clubs.
Yeah,
Never.
it's been a long time for me. I mean, there is no club for 70-year-olds.
No.
That's called ARP.
Well, if you do go, it's sad. If you're
Yeah,
the,
you
you're
don't
the
want to be
guy
the
at
oldest
the bar.
Yeah.
Hey, ladies. You're like,
Yeah.
What's fucking grandpa doing here?
But do kids dance now?
That's a good question.
My son has like I remember a time when you say, oh, I'm doing the Cabbage Patch now. It's like
Right.
you knew what the latest dance was. My son never dances. I've taken him to New Year's Eve parties. He never, during a slow record, says to a girl, you want to dance? You go out and slow dance. What happened to that shit?
That's true, right? Well, because clubs got associated with violence. Like clubs get associated with people getting drunk, they're doing drugs and chaos and people getting shot.
Yeah.
There's just too much of that going on. And you hear about that at concerts too. But yeah,
Mob.
you're right. There's no new dances.
Yeah.
There's no things that like you have to learn. You know?
But you know what's replaced it? Maybe the entire family on TikTok.
Right.
TikTok has definitely got dances that you got to learn.
Oh, really?
That's all it is.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, for people that are
Right.
way
That's where
younger
the
than us.
dances are. That's where the dances
Yeah,
are.
I know
They're
what
not going to clubs. They're just doing
Corn
them.
song just got viral again because they're dancing to "Freak on a Leash." It's a 25-year-old song that has got a dance to it.
What's
now.
the dance? Show me the dance.
Couldn't even begin to start it, but I can show you
Get
the
up here and
video
do
of
it.
I can show you the video. Of it.
You do it. You've been practicing.
No.
I used to
Show me the video.
Yeah,
What's the corn dance?
In my head, you're like, get up and do it, but I'm not.
Do we have to not play the music?
Yeah, probably not play the music.
So this
but
is
that's,
this is the dance.
see. It's a new day.
yeah.
You don't go to a club. You do it with your girl.
I
At
think
the
they
crib.
made it back on Billboard because
No
like the
way.
songs
Oh,
so
that's
popular,
hilarious.
It's got so many plays on it.
That's hilarious. 1998.
Yeah, it's old.
Wow, that's crazy.
So I don't know. And then to
Ah,
contrast to this is the club in Austin where everybody goes. They're not necessarily doing those dances.
What club is this?
This is called the Concourse.
Oh, see, I can't go to a club with no shirt on.
And what do they do here?
Like DJs.
Oh,
So,
DJs.
yeah, it's like watching
So they
DJ at
just
the
bounce
end and
around.
Bunch of lasers.
Yeah, this is like
They
a
do
Jazzy Jeff
ecstasy.
concert. This
Yeah. Jazzy Jeff. Yeah, they just bounce around. They're all on ecstasy.
Everybody stares at the DJ stage like they're performing
How weird.
music and
Yeah, this is a sign of a sick culture. Not that there's anything wrong with DJs.
a different culture.
But it is like, but that there's no the other thing. There's no like people dancing,
Yeah.
in the old days. Like if you go back and you watch like nightclubs from like the 1960s and 70s, what was everybody like the disco days, right?
Yeah.
That's perfect.
When
example.
Tramp was singing, burn this mother down.
Right. Yeah.
Down.
Yeah. People
Disco
are dancing.
Inferno.
Well, I remember when I was a kid, Saturday Night Live or Saturday Night Fever rather came out.
Ooh.
And that's when everybody wanted to learn how to dance because John Travolta,
Yeah.
he could fucking dance, and they would have
Yeah.
dance
Right there.
offs.
And
It's right
black
there.
people were saying, we got to step
That's-
up the
oh,
game if this boy can do
that's
that.
crazy.
Right.
So we had to get better.
Right, and then you had Soul Train, right, where
Saturday
everybody was
morning,
dancing on
man.
TV.
Yes.
Yeah,
Saturday morning was that was life for me.
there's no shows where there's like a bunch of people performing music on TV anymore.
Well, that's that gap between me and you as talkers. One of the problems I had, and I talk in the book about this, I love music, and I grew up wanting to do that show. So when they start telling me, you can get better numbers with Howie Mandel just talking than you can with this, because I put Boys to Men and the Temptations together once. I had to fly Boys to Men from Philly. I had, and they wanted it less black, and now I got 14 brothers doing choreography, and it's like, no, that's not what
They
we
wanted
meant.
it less black.
Well,
Like they would say shit like that to you.
oh yeah, they wanted. This is the carrot. They said, we know Johnny's gonna leave one day. You always think it's gonna be 2 years. So you can inherit his audience if you do the right show. But Joe,
Isn't that crazy?
I used to do the talk show in my basement, man, and we'd put on a Temptations record, and my friend Junior would be my guest, and he would sing "Get Ready." On Soul Train, they lip sync. We knew the microphones wasn't plugged in,
Right.
and so he would sing, and then I'd interview him. I wanted to do that show, but
You were doing that when you were young.
oh yeah,
When did
yeah.
you? How old were you when you were doing that?
11.
Really?
Yeah, my mother would have rent parties, and so she'd rent these card tables and chairs. And the people, like in LA, we call it town and country, right? You can rent stuff for your party. So the next day they come and pick up the stuff in the truck. But before they'd pick it up, I would do a talk show with that stuff. And I dreamed of everything that I did eventually in my life.
Wow.
And it was the show I wanted to do. So at a certain point when they say, does Prince need a purple piano? You know, I said, yeah, he wanted a purple piano. And the show I was doing was just too expensive. And you and I talked once at the Ice House when I tried to do the reboot show.
Yeah.
And I was telling you how complicated it was. They wanted my Twitter site.
They
don't
took
want me
your,
to-
I was telling people, they took over your fucking social media and they wouldn't give it back.
Yeah, it was hard to get back.
That's crazy. I remember you telling me that. We were standing outside the outside area of the Ice House, and you were like, I can't get my fucking social media back. I'm like, that's crazy. They took your social media.
Yeah.
And they would use it to promote other shows.
Absolutely. And the end of that reboot experience didn't go down
Get in
exactly
there.
the way I wanted to. Like I got picked up first, and Jay Leno came out and read a letter from Les Moonves that I was picked up for a second season. And then we start talking about the second season. And here's the great thing. They wanted you really got to stop doing the music. As a matter of fact, how about no house band? And it's
What?
interesting. But economically speaking, Joe, when I look at it, they wanted me to do Joe Rogan before there was a Joe Rogan. They just want you to talk to people and stuff. I'd watched Fallon with Will Smith one night, and Will Smith rode in on a horse. And I'm like, that's expensive. You know, they wanted me to do what we're doing right now because this is cheaper to do.
Oh, the fuck
I
is
would
this?
love for us to have a hip hop star here right now following me. But this is economically sound. It's a new day.
Right. So that's all it was? It was just a money thing? They just.
Well, that was the reboot show. The first show, if they want me to be in the position to inherit Johnny's audience, because they wanted me and themselves to make more money, a lot of money, keep making money. And I was kind of kicking the bag because I had wanted to do this show since I was a kid. I couldn't imagine.
But
a
meanwhile,
show.
the thing is, your show was so popular.
And by the way, they got numbers one night when Whitney didn't sing. She just came on, and that was the kiss of death in my morning meetings because they were like, "Look, Whitney sang nothing, and look at the numbers." So
The
they were
numbers are
shooting
so
for the
weird.
Joe Rogan experience before there was an experience.
The fucking people concentrate on the numbers. It's like you're missing the
But
trees.
you got to, Joe. Yeah. Sometimes it's really important for me to look back and say, I love that show that I did, and I don't regret a moment of it. But I get a corporate organization saying we can make more money and we can get more people in.
Yeah, if I was I would be a terrible corporate executive, by the way.
Because you would
But
lead
if I
with your
was,
heart.
yeah, I would say just be you. Just have fun. And whatever ads we get, we get. Whatever money we get, we get. And that's good. You get plenty. It'll be fine. You can't, you gotta let, it has to, I feel like every show has to be a unique expression of the person that's hosting it and what they're trying to do. Like, let that person be free. Like, can you imagine if Quentin Tarantino had to sit down with a group of people that were executives before he wrote a script? You would never get any of these fucking chaotic, crazy movies. They'd be like, no, you can't bash a woman's head on a mantelpiece. That's nuts. Like, don't do that. No, you can't, like in Jackie Brown, no, you can't fucking shoot that girl in the parking lot. That's nuts. You can't do that. You can't do any of these things. You've got to let someone just be free. And then it finds its audience.
Yeah. I remember when Ice-T came on to explain Cop Killer. And
What?
his way of
Tough
explaining it.
sell, by the way.
Yeah.
And it was a metal band.
Yeah.
People don't realize that. Like Ice-T, people forgot. Body Count was a metal band.
Yeah, you got to search that, y'all.
Right? A lot of people don't even know that he did that. You think of Ice-T, you
think
think
of
of
rap.
6 in the Morning, you think of, Hustler, you think of all those classic songs, Colors, you think of that. You don't think of Body Count, which is like Ice-T reinvented himself, and he was like, I always love this kind of music. You can't tell me what the fuck I do.
What
I
an
like this kind of
amazing,
music too.
amazing career. That
I
dude.
know, and now he plays a cop for like
Yeah.
25 years. On
How
TV.
about that for irony? I knew him when he was a pimp, and now
That's
he's
crazy.
a cop.
Well, remember when he was in Pimps Up, Hose Down?
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
he was in that too.
Yeah,
I mean, he was talking about the pimp game. It's hilarious.
yeah. He came on. By the way, they didn't want me to do that. You know, uh, book him, but I thought it was cool to expose America to some conversations they might not hear normally.
Right.
And the more power I got, the more I tried to push that envelope and do those things. He compared it to
Ooh,
Schwarzenegger. He
let's
says, "You don't
go.
think he's really the Terminator, right?" And he says,
right.
"I'm not a cop killer, but there's a message through this character."
Right.
And I'm paraphrasing, but
Yeah.
it was nice to hear people who I know. I would talk to Tupac and I would say that on the air. You got to talk about that on the air. And that was, we didn't have Twitter. We didn't have the Bluebird. I was kind of the Blackbird.
Right.
And I was able to have these, like Tupac called me once and he says,
Let's
"Man,
go,
they want
baby.
me to take an
The
AIDS
fuck I'm
test
talking
before I do
about.
this movie. And
Scored like
unless I'm
3 goals
really
in
going
like
to fuck
fucking
Janet,
20 seconds.
I don't think I should have to take an AIDS test." And I'm like, "Please don't say any more. Just come on the show." And this fit into both categories. Come on the show. Don't do any music. Just sit and talk. And those nights would do really good.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Because people want to hear people really talk. Especially in those weird settings where most of the time when people were coming on talk shows, they would just have this like very canned sort of like pre-programmed thing that they would talk about. They would talk about their character in the
We even have,
movie.
people don't know, we have pre interviews, which you don't
Mhm.
have in a show like this. But I get a card.
Yeah.
That morning, it's like, okay, here's what Jackie Collins would like to talk about.
Right.
You know,
Right.
or Nicole Kidman has requested that you don't mention Tom Cruise. And I'm like, well, tell Nicole the only reason that bitch is here is because I think Tom Cruise is gonna walk out. And it was
That's
crazy
crazy.
back then.
Yeah, well, it was all PR people, and it's again, you're dealing with too many different people that are peripheral people, where all their money is dependent on this one person performing.
Mhm.
So they just want to make sure they make the maximum amount of money possible. Like, don't make any ripples, don't cause any waves, don't cause any problems. Just go out there and smile, and
Yeah, don't
we'll
mess
sell
this
more.
up.
We'll sell more records. We'll sell more movies. TV show will get better ratings. Don't mess it up.
Yeah, guys
Yeah.
like Prince used to be frustrated with the fact that if something's a hit, can you give us something like that again? How many beats per second is that?
Right.
Can you give us that again? Or any
Ugh.
big artist, it's like we want more of waterfalls.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, Prince was one of the most revolutionary artists ever. And people that don't know the early stuff, they don't know how crazy it was that this guy was the house song called Head.
Yeah, yeah.
Just singing about getting head.
First time I saw him, he was opening for the Rolling Stones.
Wow.
And the audience didn't dig him because it was different back then, and he was singing soft and wet.
Right. Right. Well, Prince was he was so unique, man.
And he predicted a lot of the things that we're dealing with now and going through. I remember the first time he talked about what became Napster. And he talked about
Wow,
owning
Napster.
your own property and what was going to happen, slave on his jaw. And we thought that was silly, but
Hmm.
it meant something.
Well, he was dealing with these crazy contracts where these record companies, these predatory record companies, would
Mm.
lock you into these contracts and they fucking owned you. So his response to that was like, okay, I won't perform as Prince anymore. Now I'm fucking this
Yeah,
shit.
yeah.
I'm this
I'm a
squiggly.
symbol
I'm a symbol.
with a slave
Yeah.
insignia on my
What are you
jaw.
going to do now? I'm a symbol. I'm not even selling myself as Prince.
Yeah.
And he would just, I mean, how revolutionary is that? This guy said, okay, I know the workaround. I won't use my name anymore. I'll just be a symbol.
He was a
And,
bad
but he
dude,
was
man.
such a bad
That's crazy.
motherfucker that people are like, I know who that is. I don't care what that fucking symbol is. That's Prince. Let him sing.
Yeah.
Let him do things.
Did you ever meet him?
No, man.
I-
I had
I-
one opportunity to fucking see him live,
Yeah.
and I blew it.
At the Great Western Forum?
No,
Oh.
it was at one of the hotels in Vegas, but it was a really late show. and I had a show earlier that night, and they said, and Prince was doing small shows back then. It was like this small, like it was intimate audience, but it was like after midnight. I was like, I'm fucking tired. I'm gonna go to sleep. And this is like in the, I fucked up, man. I fucked up. It's like when his career was in a weird place because he wasn't doing like big shows anymore, and he was doing this late night show, and people were saying it was really good, but I was like, I'm tired. I'm not gonna see this. And then years later, when he was dead, I was like, God, did I fuck up? I always thought Prince was going to be around.
Yeah.
And we lost Prince to fentanyl.
Yeah.
A lot of people
Alone
don't
in
even
the
know.
elevator.
Bro?
God
Yeah.
damn.
Oh, I remember the Musicology album where he toured and he attached the album to the ticket so that when you bought a ticket, you were buying an album and it instantly became $1 million seller with that philosophy. He had genius that was way ahead of the pimps.
Yeah.
You know, I
Well,
love it.
he just knew that he was being fucked, and he knew that all they're selling is his brilliance. They don't have anything. What is a record company selling? They're only selling the art. That's it. They don't make it.
And they
They're
were
just
getting
selling
a penny a copy and
Yeah,
bullshit
exactly.
like that.
The record company was getting most of it, and now it makes even less sense because nobody even buys albums anymore. It's like, how the fuck are these record companies even surviving? It's so crazy that they still figure out a way to latch their tentacles onto these young artists. And for young artists, they feel like they've made it when they're a part of a record deal. Like, oh, I got a deal. And I almost want to tell them, like,
That ain't a deal.
you got to deal with the devil. Like, if you just put your shit on YouTube or on SoundCloud or anywhere where people hear it and they start sharing it, you'll be huge.
Yeah, we're getting smarter and learning how to deal with the pimps that pimp us. You know, I talk in the book about Prince also had a great sense of humor. You would have loved him, you know, as a person, beyond the musician. And there was a time when I was hosting the MTV Awards, and he had no ass in his pants. And you know, so when he's coming past me down the hall, I realize, oh shit, because this motherfucker ain't got no ass in his pants. We'll be talking about this tomorrow. So obviously, when I get back to the show, my first monologue is about that night.
Look at
Yes, yes.
1991. Isn't that crazy?
That was nuts.
1991.
And so I do jokes about that in the monologue.
Of course.
And like a week or two after the jokes, I get a box in the mail at Paramount, and it's from Prince. And I open it. I figure it's maybe a hoodie.
Right.
You know, I opened it, and it's a beautiful black and white suit with all the Prince symbols on it. Made me look like I was the drummer for New Power Generation or something. It was a cool suit. And I'm looking at it, and my assistant said, "Turn it around." I turned it around. There was no ass.
Did you
no
wear it?
leg. Hell no. Not even at the crib. I never
Oh, I didn't
put
say
it on.
turn
It's
around.
like
He had it like
I
flipped the
could
wrong
never
way.
bring myself to putting on that suit. It
Maybe
had
it
no
had
back
chefs.
show.
Oh,
It
that's
was-
hilarious.
But that's his sense of humor.
That's hilarious. That's so funny.
I took him to an after hours joint once. I talk about that in the book because he was very interested in what people listen to and what moves people in clubs.
Ah,
And I
shit.
told him about an after hours joint down the way south of Wilshire that was in a lady's house. And you have pit bulls and a fence, and they let you in, they lock the chain back, bring you to the back, and you know, you put money on the counter and they put your liquor in a solo cup, you know, not a legal place. And I told him about the place, and he said, "I want to go." And I took him down the way to this spot. He had an acrylic cane and a suit where the shoes match the suit, exact same material. And he sat with me in this after hours joint and listened to the music. And it was where the strippers
What
would go.
year was this?
Oh, God, this was maybe 2 years after I left the talk show.
Oh, what?
And
So did he need the cane back then? Was that when he was having hip problems?
I think so. Now we understand that maybe he had a hip replacement or something. I thought it was fashion, but it probably was a little necessary that year. And
Well, he was all his dancing
Fuck.
Oh, he
going
should
crazy.
jump off
Oh,
speakers, Joe,
yeah.
and land with heels.
Mm-hmm.
So,
That's what fucked
Man
him
with
up.
heels.
Yeah.
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 A lot of pictures with him with a cane over the time, though.
That's
God
well,
damn it.
he probably was struggling even back then, because there's a lot of guys that blew their hips out. Yeah, he probably needed it.
Because he was an
Fuck.
athlete per se, you know.
Oh, for sure. I mean, his dancing was insane.
And he was a good basketball player.
Well-
Hey, I have one of those. The hat with the police hat with the chain. He sent me that one day.
Fuck.
So I'm sure there are a few of them, but just to have one of those from him, and he sent me like what looks like a Smith
No
and
shit.
Wesson 38 long, but it was fixed up so the microphone was where the barrel is. So he could hold a gun and sing into it like that.
Oh,
I
wow.
have that. And
Oh,
it's very
wow.
cool. Very cool.
I became good friends with Charlie Murphy, and Charlie had. Oh, look at that!
Yes.
Wow, wow.
I have
That's
one of those. I don't know
crazy.
how many there were, but I have one from him.
That's crazy. Wow.
But Charlie Murphy?
Well, Charlie had all those great stories about Prince that he did on Chappelle's show.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that was like that whole segment of like how good Prince was at basketball,
Mm-hmm.
and that people didn't believe it because he's so short. But meanwhile, he could fucking play like a
Oh,
motherfucker.
yeah. He had a crossover move that was crazy, and he could roller skate.
Make
And,
a rule.
I mean, amazing with a lollipop backwards and shit on one foot, you know. So he was,
Well, he was an athlete.
yeah,
Really. I mean, you can't dance like that and not have incredible body control. You know?
yeah,
But the problem is when you're doing show after show after show after show after show, and
for years.
you're tearing your fucking joints apart, and that's probably what blew his hips out.
That's one thing about us, with the exception of the shit you used to do on a stool, that balancing act.
Oh, the Kardashian joke.
Yeah, our joke, our life of jokes isn't very we
No.
you know, all we got to do is take care of from the neck up, take care of your mind, our
Yeah.
body. No comedian has a bad hip.
Well, you generally don't get it from performing on stage, that's for sure. But when you're dancing and jumping around and doing all that shit, like Ted Nugent blew his knees out jumping off of speakers.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of people did that. They went crazy. They were just putting on a show, and you don't realize you're doing it. Maynard from Tool, he blew his hip out, stomping on the ground all the time.
Wow.
Just stomping while he was singing. He had to get a hip replacement.
Yeah, I like being a stand-up.
Well, it's definitely easier on the body. That's true. You know.
You
And-
still get up on stage ever?
Oh yeah, all the time. I'm going up
In your
tonight.
own club?
Yeah.
What nights do you go up?
Usually Tuesday and Wednesday I do it, but I do it, off nights too, different nights. But Tuesday and Wednesday, almost every week, I do a show there.
I promised my woman I wouldn't go to the mothership. And
Why?
When I told her, she's like, when you go, I want to go. It's a big deal if you're a comic, you know. I mean, it's a huge deal. But I want to come one night, fly in, and just let me have 10.
Dude, you can go up anytime. You can go up tonight if you want. I got a show tonight.
Yeah, I got to fly home and do. I'm still slinging this book, man.
I hear you, brother. Well,
And-
anytime you want to come by and do a set, you're more than welcome.
I love it.
Come
down
and
here.
hang out.
Everybody's been so friendly.
The green room's an amazing hang too.
That's what I hear, but I've
Oh,
heard
so
both
much
sides
fun.
of that. I've heard don't be in that motherfucker if you're not supposed to.
Well, the problem is you don't want anybody coming in and fucking up the conversation.
Mhm.
So you got to be kind of vetted. But it's only like during shows when you're not on. If it's a show and you're on the show, everyone's allowed to be in the green room.
Yeah.
It's just like we don't allow people to just come in out of nowhere. There's like you're from out of town, you want to come in and hang out in the green room. Then there's too many people in the green room.
Yeah.
And then people have to prepare. They're going over their notes. The green room is supposed to be a hang with the comics on the show that are getting ready to go on stage. And the problem is that's the cool spot. That's where Shane Gillis is and Ron White is and Tony Hinchcliffe is. Everybody wants to come in, and it gets to be a little bit of a problem. So you can't go in the green room if you're not on the show, unless we know who you are and
Right.
you're in town, you want to come hang. But it's like it's like you're having a party. You can't let everybody in. The problem is
Yeah.
everybody wants to be there.
I mean, look at the level I'm at and how long I've been doing it, and I know about the green room and want to get in there.
You can get
know?
it. You can get it
Yeah.
anytime. But
Hey, when you were living in Hollywood still, did your kids ever want to act?
no, they're not interested in that.
And
Yeah,
never wanted to do
thank
stand
God.
up?
No, they wouldn't. Look, first of all, rich kids are not going to be good stand-ups. You're not going to be able to deal with the torture of bombing. You're not going to.
And they don't have to.
And they don't have pain. Their pain is so minor in comparison to the pain of poverty, the pain of struggle, the pain of not getting enough attention when you're young, and moving around a lot, all the different shit that most comics go through. I've never met a good comic who had a great childhood.
As you're talking, I'm thinking, I'm like, do we know any comics who are good who are from wealth?
None. I don't know any. I'm sure they can exist. I'm sure it's possible. But it takes a very exceptional person to want to be a great comic that's grew up wealthy. It's just not a thing that they seek to do.
So much comedy comes from our pain.
I think the only exception to that would be the Wayans brothers, because the sons of the Wayans brothers all went on to be great comics.
Mm-hmm.
They all went on to have big careers in movies and films and television. But I think it's like a family thing over there. Like, I remember Damon telling me that he set up a stage in his house.
Mm-hmm. That's absolutely true.
Well, they love stand-up so much they would fucking do stand-up for each other. Just fuck around. I used to see, first of all, I think to this day, Damon is one of the most underappreciated great comics of all time.
Yeah. And he's back out there now. I noticed in my room, Damon is at the Improv. And
he's always been.
I thought he quit.
There. No, he never quit. He was always doing stand-up, but he's low-key about it. He makes his money off of television.
Mm-hmm.
And even like he wanted to do. We talked years ago about him coming on my podcast, and he was like, "I'd like to, but I'll say some crazy shit, and then I'll get in trouble," because he was in that what I call the velvet prison, the TV velvet prison. You're doing TV shows. You're playing a dad on a TV show. You can't come on a podcast talk about getting your dick sucked. It's just
Howie Mandel goes through that. I work with him a lot, and Howie is on America's Got Talent.
Exactly.
This real commercial television vehicle, but nobody is more real and edgy than Howie Mandel
when he's on stage and in the green room. Hanging out. Like, he's done sets at the Mothership. He's come and hung out with us.
Yeah.
He did my podcast, and he came to the club. He's like, fuck, I want to be like that. I want to do what you guys are doing.
Yeah.
I'm like, you can do it. But he's worried that he would lose that velvet prison.
Hey, when we're working and they have the phones in bags, that's when he's amazing to watch. Because he'll drop the C-bomb in a minute.
He was saying it. He was saying it on stage.
Yeah.
I'm just so happy I can say cunt.
Yeah.
I just want to say it. But he was funny. It was like he was having a good time. He was loose. And you could tell. It was like, because Howie was a great comic. Like, Howie had some hilarious fucking specials.
I hated following him at the Westwood Comedy Store. Mitzi used to send us there to get better. Me, him, and Paulie. That's the one thing I loved about her. You know how we have Nepo babies? She didn't have no Nepo babies. She was like, Paulie, you're not ready.
Yeah. Oh,
and
she would
sent
make
his
you
ass
work.
to Westwood.
Oh, she made Paulie work. Yeah. I mean, Paulie's a rare dude in that regard. Like, he became a really funny comedian while he was, living with a woman who's the great, as in terms of like people in comedy that are like some of the most critical, important people. She is the most important person in the history of comedy that's not a comic.
Absolutely. There is no argument.
No argument.
Mm-mm.
There's no one even close to her. And her son, went on to have huge success in films and movies.
I took Mitzi. Remember when we had the Universal Amphitheater?
Mm-hmm.
I got tickets and took Mitzi to see Paulie open for Sam Kinison.
Wow.
And it just blew her away because she had never seen him in that large environment. And it was really cool to watch her watch her son.
Well, she let him grow the right way. She didn't give him a silver spoon.
By the way,
she made him figure
Mitzi
it out.
Shore started the Comedy Store, and she's the mother of Paulie Shore. Because I say Mitzi to you like it's a cousin.
Right. Well, we talk about her so much. I think a lot of people listening know. But she's the most important person in comedy that wasn't a comic. And more important than most comedians. Like, she would tell you how to do it right. And if she liked you, man, it was like...
She'd tell you how to do it in her opinion. I've seen her tell some people some crazy shit.
Oh, yeah, she was not right a lot of times.
Yeah.
She had some wild ideas that weren't good.
She had a girl put on a green wig one time, and I'm like, I'm not sure but she was trying to find some kind of hook for this
Oh, yeah.
girl. And I'm like, if you don't want to have to wear the green wig, go home and figure out a hook.
Yeah, she made Joey Diaz call himself Fat Baby. She
Ouch.
she when you would look at the lineup, like I bet you could find it online if you looked. There's lineups from the Comedy Store. It'd be a bunch of comedians, Bill Burr, blah blah blah, and then you'd see Fat Baby. And
That's
that was
it.
Joey Diaz. She would call him Fat Baby. She wouldn't even let him use his fucking name in the lineup. It would be Fat Baby.
I remember having a conversation with her and Paul was exacerbating the problem because she was like,
Rodriguez?
Paul Mooney.
Oh, Mooney.
And
Oh,
we got so many
man.
Pauls in our life. So
God,
we're
I love
sitting
that dude.
talking, and Mitzi's about to start the belly room because she thinks women need a place to perform and to get better.
That
wanted
was
like
what the belly room originally was.
a little college up there
Yeah.
for ladies. And she was trying to think of a name for it. And she says, I'm also thinking about having one night of just black comics. Because there was only George Wallace, Dave Tyree, and Mooney at one time when I arrived. And
What year was that?
I came in 1980, New Year's Eve.
Wow.
I drove out from Chicago because I'm from Cleveland, and there were no comedy clubs in Cleveland back then. So I had to go to New York, L.A., or Chicago. And my mother was living in Chicago at that time, so I went there because rent was free for a while. And that was a lot of fun. But Mitzi, for the black night, she said, Paul, what do you think I should call it? And she says, I was thinking cotton comedy. and I'm no, Mitzi, no, you can't. And I was trying to explain why. And Paul was like, oh, that's wonderful. Let's that's exactly what we should call it.
Oh, homie.
Oh, homie, cotton comedy.
No way.
He was
What the
cool.
fuck?
Oh, man.
What's
Paul,
that?
that guy would write. Man, there'd be something that would happen in the news like the day before, and Mooney would go on stage and have like 15 minutes on it and just crush.
And he did something that I know I hated. He requested the last spot.
Oh, he loved that.
Wanted to go on late, wanted to stay on as long as he wanted, and would fuck with you if you tried to get up. Oh, you don't like a smart nigga. But don't leave too early. My friend's at your house robbing that motherfucker.
He would
was
have
the
so many
best.
things like that, so many hooks. And he was just so good at working those small crowds. He just liked the freedom of just being able to fuck around,
With a bottle of champagne with a straw.
Little tiny bottle of champagne.
The little spoon.
Yeah. And he would sip on it during punchlines.
Oh, nigga, please. And then take a sip.
We all used to sit in the back and watch him. It's like if you thought you were good at comedy, you'd watch Mooney and go, God, I got so much to learn.
Yeah.
I got so much to learn.
All the great comics that we know now at one time would sit in the back of the OR and come late to watch Paul.
Absolutely.
I used to, on a landline, I used to call Keenan and say, yo, I'll meet you there. We were going to see Mooney at 1:15.
I would always love to see Mooney when something fucked up happened in the news. Like if there's something fucked up happened in the news, I'm like, when's Paul going up?
Yeah.
It's just like you had to go see him because he always had a take. And, that take was always like, oh, shit. It was like he would get you. He would like find an angle where you'd be like, oh, my God. Oh, my God. He was so clever.
The
He was so
coolest
smart.
conversations at the comedy show. When Richard would come up every night, and Richard would go from 5 minutes to an hour, and then it would become a great special that you go to at the theater to see. But I would watch Paul Mooney before we had cell phones. After it was over, Richard would go and have a cigarette in the main room, like on a Monday or Sunday, I think it would be closed. And that's where we'd call it holding court. He would go in there first and just want to dry off for a minute, smoke a cigarette. And Paul would come in with a napkin with stuff written on it. And he would just, oh, and how about this? And he would give him tags. And as a matter of fact, Richard on the back of an album, that joke, you go to prison, you get justice, just us, nigga. And he gave that to Richard, and it was on a prior album. But Joe, that was a time Richard would work out every night. He'd work the original room, go in the main room, and entertain his guest, and it would be like Burt Reynolds, Moses, Charlton Heston,
Wow.
Bernie Casey. But you would see like Burt Reynolds would have Sally Field with him.
Wow.
It was amazing. They would all come and bow to the king, dog.
Yeah. Well, he was so different. Yeah, I always say that the godfather of comedy who started everything was Lenny Bruce.
Mhm.
But then Richard figured out a way to take that and make it way funnier. Like, he figured out how to take that kind of honesty and social commentary and figure out how to like talk about life.
Mhm.
Because people don't know that before Lenny Bruce came around, it was just jokes. It was just like two Jews walking to a bar. They
Yeah.
buy it. Ta-da-dum.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
jokes. It
Yeah,
was like
it was
ethnic
Dangerfield
jokes.
rhythm.
Yeah, but you know what? Dangerfield was a special guy too.
Yeah, he was a beast, man.
And he took like 10 years off and never stopped writing and was selling aluminum siding.
Yeah.
And then came back and made it in his 40s.
Yeah.
Wow, look at this. Willie
the
Nelson.
main room. That's the main room, yeah.
That's crazy. Burt Reynolds, Sally Fields.
Now you see that picture. One night I'm in that room, and Stevie Wonder is over on the piano. Remember how the piano used to be in the main room on the far left of the stage?
Yes.
Stevie's playing, and there are a few people snorting coke. I think to this day Stevie still thinks a few of those people have allergies because
they're all sniffing.
yeah, he's just sitting playing, and people.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Look at that. Burt Reynolds on stage, Robin Williams.
I saw
Richard
Burt
Pryor.
Reynolds give the parking attendant $100, and I thought I was on another planet. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. I should be parking cars. Fuck, stand up. Yeah, and for people who are looking at this picture, that's Richard holding court after his set.
Wow. What an amazing photo. Well, Jamie, we should get some of these photos and, yeah, get some of these photos and let's print them up and put them in the green room at the mothership.
I saw a picture.
That's at back. He's got the Ciro signs in the back.
Oh, yeah. Still, yeah.
Wow.
That tells you a lot about the history. Search Ciro's.
That sign used to be, Mitzi had this warehouse room, like was just not a warehouse, but it was a storage room where she had all the old Ciro stuff.
Mhm.
And I remember seeing that sign there, and they eventually hung it up in the back bar area. And you just look like, wow, this was a mob club in like the fucking 50s.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I saw a picture you have in the entry of Richard Pryor's mugshot.
Yeah.
I had never seen that. What did he do?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I don't remember, but he was very young. That
Mhm.
mugshot was, I think he was like 18.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it was. I have mugshots from everybody who got arrested.
Yeah, I saw
got
Larry King.
Larry
Yeah.
King was like bad checks. He was writing bad checks. He had a gambling problem.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Willie Nelson's up there.
Yeah.
I got everybody up there.
There is a book that I have in my garage, and it's the first edition to tell you how much of this kind of stuff existed. But it's all celebrities and their mugshots. So it's a coffee table book of just the mugshots.
Oh, I should probably get that book. I bet there's a few in there that I don't have.
And I bet there is a second one that they could do. Because the book's only like a half-inch thick.
We got a lot of good ones out there, but, so many people got arrested. We got David Bowie out there. Of course, Morrison. It's like Hendrix, got to have that mugshot. That's a classic.
Yeah.
There was a lot of mugshots.
Have you ever taken a mugshot?
No, I've never been arrested.
Yeah, I've never been
I'm
arrested.
a good boy, believe it or not.
Yeah. I mean, we've done things, but not enough to have to take those pictures.
Yeah, luckily. But also we live in a different time, in the 1960s and 70s when those guys are getting arrested. They're getting arrested for like having a joint or something like that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Richard, Jimmy, I think he got arrested in Toronto for having heroin on him. I think that's what he got arrested for.
I got pulled over and had a joint in my ashtray in 1989. And I was scared to death. And the cop was real nice to me. But he did the corniest thing. He says, get out of the car. And he made me rip up the joint and drop it in the sewer at the curb there. And he says, now get your life together.
Like, bitch, this is helping me get my life together.
Absolutely. It makes me funnier.
That's funny. That's hilarious.
The good old days, man. I remember you talked about Rodney earlier. Rodney Dangerfield. You know how we love comedy. Comedy. We'll never stop doing it. We'll do it until the wheels fall off. And I remember him on stage at the Laugh Factory near the end of his life,
I
and
saw him there.
yeah,
Yeah.
and his wife was in the balcony giving him lines
Oh
through
wow.
a wireless earwig. And if you went up top, you would hear her say, "I don't get no respect." And
Yeah.
I don't get no respect. You know, and first of all, two things. First of all, it warmed my heart that the woman who loves you is going to help you do what you love.
Mm-hmm.
So that made me feel so good. And it was like, I want a woman with that kind of heart because I know I'm going to want to do it when I'm older.
She gave us his notes from one of his Tonight Show appearances, and they're framed on the wall in the green room. It's his handwritten notes in bold. He would like write it in bold where the punchlines were.
Mm-hmm.
It's like sitting there right above the couch.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, it was one of the first things. Whitney Cummings hooked it up. She got it for us from her. She wanted us to have it.
Cummings,
I saw Rodney live when I was a security guard. I was a security guard at Great Woods, Great Woods Center for the Performing Arts, which was in Mansfield, Massachusetts.
Oh,
When I lived in Boston.
yeah.
Me and a bunch of the black belts from this Taekwondo team that was on got jobs as security guards. And I was 19, and I was backstage, and Rodney was walking around with a bathrobe on with nothing underneath it. That was when he was going on stage with a bathrobe. He got to such a fuck it point in his life where he would literally go on stage with nothing but a bathrobe. He would walk out there with a bathrobe and slippers and just fucking murder. I remember being in the and I wasn't even thinking about doing stand up back then. Back then, I was just fighting, and I was a fan of comedy. I always loved comedy.
Your fighting friends talked you into doing stand up, right?
Yeah, one of the guys that I trained with, my friend Steve. But when I went there, I remember like you want to talk about not giving a fuck. Like this guy really didn't give a fuck. Like he had gotten to a point where he had so much success and so much money, and this is after Back to School and all those big movies, and he was still just going out there doing stand up. He was smoking weed back there, and he would go on stage with a bathrobe on. And I remember thinking, that is the wildest shit I've ever seen in my life. I remember as a young man, because I was always, you're fucking 19. You're scared of everything. You're worried about the future. You don't know what, you have no security in your life at all. And here's this guy with, millions of dollars, massive amounts of fame.
You don't know what an AI work management platform is? Yikes. Here's 3 new AI-powered changes to the Monday platform in 2026 and what they actually mean. We all know we need to use AI, but we're still figuring out how. Well, Monday.com figured it out. Number 1, Monday Sidekick. It's like your own business consultant, but not like the one you pay hourly and that gives you generic advice. It has read every document, knows every project, budgets, timelines, everything. It answers any question about your business with infinite knowledge. Number 2, Monday Vibe. It's like having your own implementer 24/7 for free. It builds smart workflows with a single prompt. It makes adoption and onboarding way easier and faster speed to value. It will even build a whole new platform for you. Whatever you need. Number 3, AI-powered everything. Your budget column can extract quotes from a
And he had got to that I don't give a fuck stage. But he really did. He wasn't faking it. Nobody told him he has to go on stage in a bathrobe. I was like, I'll tell you what I want to do. I want to go on stage with a bathrobe. He just went on stage with a fucking bathrobe. See if you can find some photos of him on stage with a bathrobe on. I know he did it for years.
I got in trouble because Eazy-E came on my show in his bathrobe. And he was like, you gave it to me. Because we would give out bathrobes. And so he said, well, fuck it. I'll wear it out there. And he wore it out and he was picking his teeth with a knife. And Paramount was like, oh, man, this is not what we asked him for. This is really not what we asked him for. He'll never replace Johnny.
Oh, fuck off.
But I knew
those
I
people
knew,
were ridiculous.
Hey, I was where I was because I snuck in through syndication, did a first run syndication. I know network wasn't for me. And when Letterman got CBS, I knew I was really in trouble, so I had to figure out an exit plan. But the bottom line is for 6 years, I did it the way I wanted to do it, and I wouldn't change a thing, man. To do it for 26 years, I wouldn't trade those 6.
The thing about it is, man, everybody wanted to be Johnny back then. It was so
Absolutely.
crazy. Even Letterman.
I joked at the Emmys. I said I had a dream. I wanted to be an old white man with a desk, and that was to the point, Joe, that when I made it, I hired Johnny's architect that built his house to build me a house.
Wow.
I was deep into the shit like that.
Well, he was the guy.
Mm-hmm.
People don't realize, like, that was the carrot. That was the thing that they got. I mean, Jay Leno and, like, that famous scene in that movie that talked about it, where Jay Leno would hide in the closet and listen to them talk about it, because he wanted that spot when Johnny retired. But they wanted Letterman. And it was like this battle between, like, it made no sense to me. I'm like, Letterman has the Letterman show. It's fucking huge. It's amazing. Why would you want to do anything else? But everybody wanted that Tonight Show. They all wanted the Tonight Show.
And when I was a kid, I was a magician. That's how I started. And I read an article that said that Johnny did sleight of hand and was a magician. So to me, that was God speaking to me. It was like, you are a magician and you do a talk show in the basement. Ooh.
One day.
Yeah, one day.
Isn't it crazy, though, that it had to be the Tonight Show for everybody? It wasn't get your own talk show.
Joe, doing stand-up, getting that 5 minutes, having Jim McCauley come see you. I got on Dinah Shore, Mike Douglas, and I got on Merv Griffin. Didn't do it for me. I needed Jim McCauley say the Tonight Show is yours.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
You were too young. Yeah.
I was too young. And it's also like, for me, I didn't understand it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I used to like watching when comics were on the Tonight Show, but it didn't.
Like, you remember the night Roseanne came on? I'm a domestic goddess.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit, she's funny.
Oh, she was so funny.
She can write.
She was so funny. Roseanne was like way ahead of her time. She was so wild. There was no one like her when she came out.
Yeah.
She's still wild. She comes to the mothership all the time.
And as wild as she is, Joe, the night I called her and said, I need to rearrange the show tonight. Her and Tom were coming. And it was
Tom Arnold?
Yes. And it was the morning that I'd gotten a call from Irvin Magic Johnson that he was HIV positive.
Oh.
So I needed the whole show. And this is how cool she was. She says,
What?
give me another date, but I'm still coming because we love Irvin.
Oh, wow.
And they came and stood on the side that night when Irvin came and talked about it.
Wow.
She's cool.
She's cool. She's crazy as fuck.
Yeah.
She's cool.
Aren't we all? And don't we have to be?
You have to be. Yeah.
A little bit. We got to be the different kid in the neighborhood.
Yeah. Well, if you want to be as good as she was, because people, you got to go back and watch some of her specials. She was killing in a way that no woman killed like that. It was different. It was like aggressive. It was aggressive and angry.
Mhm.
It was
with
she
a
was
tent
so
dress
funny.
on.
Yeah.
She didn't sell us any sexuality at all. It was just
No.
great writing.
Just great writing and great performing and a lot of I don't give a fuck.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just, Do you find any photos of Rodney with a bathrobe on?
I mean, yes, but not on stage.
No?
There's only, I don't even know if they exist.
They,
It's in my
Well,
clothes.
that was
they don't exist. That's crazy.
but that was a pre-show right there. He's
Mhm.
You think he's not ready, but he's
Yeah.
dressed to
Yeah.
go on.
right. And he's
for
sitting
that
there
night.
writing.
Look at the phone. Look at the landline.
Isn't that crazy?
I showed my son one of those. He couldn't believe that to dial a 9, it was.
And if you missed one of them and fucked it up, you had to start from scratch. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Yeah. I remember when
Step 1. Plan. Describe what you want to build. Flux understands your requirements and maps out a detailed plan for your approval. Step 2. Schematic. Flux generates conducts research, generates bombs and schematics, while checking in at key.
the iPhone first came out and it didn't have actual buttons like a StarTAC.
Mm-hmm.
And I was freaking. It's like, how will I know where the L is?
Yeah.
I can't feel it.
I remember I had a BlackBerry back then. You couldn't convince me that I needed to get an iPhone. I was like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I'm not typing on that stupid thing. I don't even know where the buttons are. It's crazy. You don't. It makes a click sound. That's stupid.
Before you know it, we were doing it. We turned off the click, and it says
Yeah.
a lot about progress. Don't be afraid of change.
Well, now I talk to it. Now I hardly ever text. I just say, text Arsenio.
Mhm.
Like, say, hey, man, looking forward to seeing you tonight, blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
and just send it.
Yeah,
I
do.
make most of my text messages, I just talk to my phone.
Yeah, pretty much. Me and Siri, and you can't say the N word to Siri. The other night I was
She
writing
won't
a
say
joke.
it?
No, she won't fuck with the N word because Siri
I
is
wonder
like,
if Google will.
she's like, I'm not getting canceled,
Ah.
and let Alexa have the whole business. I'm not to get,
That's
but
hilarious.
I'm writing a joke and I said the N word. Of course I didn't say N word. I said nigga, and Siri would not write it. And then when I kept saying it, she started writing other things, that started with an N, but they
Weird.
weren't even words.
How weird.
And I'm like, so they got Siri trained.
That's so weird.
She not getting canceled.
It's weird that it took, it wasn't even 10 years. And then everybody just got accustomed to having a phone with them all the time. Like, there was, think about like the difference between like, it was probably like, what is it, like 97, 98 when everybody had those Motorola's,
Mm-hmm.
right? It was around
Oh.
then, right?
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
around then, like 96, 97.
My friends laughed at me. My first phone was in a Halliburton briefcase. And you opened the silver Halliburton briefcase, take the phone out, and the phone was maybe 10 inches, and I had an antenna that screwed on the outside of the briefcase because you had this big possum tail.
Yeah. I had one on
antenna.
the roof of my car
Oh, yeah.
in 1989.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow. Back then, I couldn't imagine that kids would be watching movies on the phone.
Right, playing games, watching movies, and that would be most of their social life was communicating through that thing.
Yeah, remember there was a time when dudes said to each other, "Yo, he got
Oh no!
man, his pimp hand is crazy. He can get a bitch in a second, and blah blah blah. He can talk." And now young men don't know what the fuck to say to a woman leaning against a wall in a club.
No, they have
because
dating apps now.
yeah,
They
swipe
just swiping.
left. Yeah,
Crazy. But what I was going to get at, like how quickly the culture changed from, let's just say, 98 when a lot of people had a phone. At least half the people had a phone on them. 2008, everybody had a phone.
Mhm.
2018, you'd be crazy to not have a phone.
Yeah.
20 years. Like that.
Okay, now hold your thought.
Okay.
I remember a time when you and I were the only parents that didn't allow cell phones in the hands of our kids. Because I remember my son said, "Dad, you gotta let me have a phone," And I'm like, "I'm not doing it. Until you're a certain age." I'd set it up, and I said, "Does everyone in your class have a phone?" And he said, "No, 2 of us don't." And I realized you were the other parent
Yeah.
that was saying,
No
"You're
way.
not fucking with
I
this."
gave her a phone that has 2 numbers on it.
That's
It was
too
there was
funny.
a weird little cell phone that
Mhm.
you could get for kids,
Mhm.
where she could dial like my phone number or my wife's phone number.
Mhm.
It was like that's it. Those are
Yeah.
like, it was like, I forget what it was called. It was like the Frog or something like that. Some
It
little
was
cell phone that was
a
just
safe
for kids.
phone for kids.
Yeah. But you didn't have to worry about the things that kids have to worry about now. Like I was watching this thing about Roblox. That game that kids like to play.
Mhm.
That they're getting like predators are on Roblox,
Mhm.
and they're trying to pick up kids, like child predators.
Yeah.
So you have to worry about the games they play. You have to worry about them getting DM'd by creeps. You have to
Yeah.
worry about so much more access
Yeah, I
than
remember-
just a phone to call people.
Yeah, there was a time when my kid used to play games with a headset on, and he would play with people you don't know, just somebody in the world.
Mm-hmm.
They would gather,
Yeah.
and I remember feeling like, this can't be good,
Right.
because these probably aren't all kids he's playing with.
100%. Yeah. Yeah. Well, when I first started playing video games, you'd have to chat by pulling down a window, and you'd have to type in the things that you wanted to say.
Yeah.
You couldn't talk to people.
Yeah.
And then when people started talking to people in video games, I'm like, oh, well, this is crazy.
Yeah.
But then the problem is, whenever there's anything that kids are doing, you're going to have some creeps that are targeting kids.
Mhm.
And they find where the kids are hanging out, what the kids are doing, and then they try to get those kids to meet them somewhere. That's what's scary about cell phones and the internet and all that shit, is that it's not just a phone. It's a
Hey, would you like your very own Shopify store? We're literally and completely free, by the way. We are live streaming right now. If you click the link that you see below this, we are live streaming. My brother Adrian.
way that you can connect with people. And there's always creeps that are trying to connect with kids.
Yeah. I was lucky as a kid because I talk about being a magician, and I worked at a magic shop when I was 12, took cash because I couldn't actually have a job. And I remember meeting older magicians. I remember going to people's house to see a new guillotine trick. And my mother worked 2 jobs. I was a latchkey kid. I never had any problems, and I never was warned about it, but I could have been a target because
Yeah, you got lucky.
yeah, I really
Yeah.
got lucky because when I was writing the book, I'm looking and I'm saying, there was a guy I met who worked until he died for Penn and Teller. And this dude, I met him at a magic show, and every year when he would come to Cleveland, I would go sit with him. My mother never knew I had this 40-year-old friend,
Weird, right?
But he was cool, and I got lucky.
Yeah, that's the thing about latchkey kids. I mean, the thing is, though, I was watching this YouTube video where they were talking about kids of our age, our generation, latchkey kids that grew up like that are so much more resilient because no problems were solved for you. You had to figure it out on your own. You went out on your own. You were outside with no cell phone communication, no way to call anybody.
Right.
When you were 10, 11, you're wandering around with your friends. It's like it was a different world. You had to figure life out in a way that, like, helicopter parenting and parents that are like tracking their kids, like a lot of parents, like, they're tracking their kids on their phone. They know where they're. You said you were at Debbie's house. You're not at Debbie's house. Where are you right now?
Yeah.
Like, everyone is like looking out for their kids maybe a little too much. It's like you want your children to be safe, but you also want them to have like a little bit of freedom to figure out who the fuck they are.
Yeah. Gosh, as a kid, when I would tell my mother I'm spending the night at Kenny's house, I was never at Kenny's house. And my girl, when I was 14, had a mom who was a nurse that worked the 11 to 7 shift. So we kind of lived together like a couple. I would tell my mother I'm going one place. I'd go to Robin's house. I would stay at her house till morning when I went home to get ready for school. I was like a grown-ass man with a woman and shit.
That's wild, isn't
Until
it?
one day her parents had the grandparents come to town and to surprise her. And so the mom's at work. There's a knock at the door. And she said, it's my grandmother. We had little peepholes. It's my grandmother, my grandfather. And I had to jump with my clothes off their balcony. That was my action-adventure teenage period.
Yeah, it's a different world. I don't know if it's better or worse, but I think it definitely made you more resilient. And that was this argument that they were making in this YouTube video, that generation is the most emotionally resilient. And that this generation coming up is like the least emotionally resilient. That's why they're always looking for things that are, problems. They're always looking for things that bother them, things that cause them anxiety. They're always looking for things that, they can't tolerate.
Where's my bike helmet? We used to have a car. It was a station wagon, and the back seat you sit facing the opposite way. No seat belts. That had to be dangerous.
It's all dangerous. Those cars were dangerous. They could barely stop.
Yeah.
They had drum brakes.
Yeah.
You ever drive like I have old cars, but I have what they call resto mods, where they take an old car, but they put like modern suspension, modern brakes, modern steering. It handles like a new car, but they have all the outside of an old car, and and then the dashboard of an old car and all that stuff. That's what I like. If you drive if you try to drive a 1968 Camaro, you're like, what is this piece of shit?
Yeah.
Like, they can't brake. You can't go around a corner. There's no traction.
What was your first car?
I had a 1973 Chevelle.
I had a Cutlass.
I had
Oldsmobile
a Cutlass once.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a 70 Cutlass. Those are great cars. God, they knew how to make a beautiful car back then.
You like muscle cars.
Yeah, I love the. Well, when I was in high school, like those were the. So I was in high school in the 1980s. I was a freshman in 1981.
I had 4 kids in the 1980s.
Wow, that's crazy.
I'm much older than you.
In those days, those cars were the cars that we all like looked at. Like you couldn't believe when someone had it. Like I remember I have a 1970 Chevelle that I got to this day. I have it because when I was like 17, my friend picked me up in a 1970 Chevelle with his buddy. And it was perfect. It was a perfect car. I couldn't believe this guy had it.
Yeah.
I was like, how do you have this?
And when you say perfect, to non-car people like me, what does that mean?
Oh, first of all, it was what you would call cherry, meaning there was no dents, no scratches, perfect paint. It was beautiful. The sound it made when he pulled up, I think I was 16 because I don't think I had a license yet. And I remember getting in the backseat of the car going, how does this guy have this car? This is crazy. It's just, you know what a 1970 Chevelle looks like?
Absolutely.
With the white stripes, black with the white stripes, that was it. I have that exact car right now. I love it. Whenever I get in, I think about when I was 16. I think about all those years ago.
When Burt Reynolds drove up, those pictures we just looked at, when he drove up.
Creators, take these 3 apps I built to run my business made with Base 44. They're ready for you as free-to-use templates in the link below. Let's talk productivity. As a one-man show, I have to handle everything myself, so missing a task isn't an option. I built a scheduling calendar to manage my content, and I added reminders for all the little tasks that keep things moving. Second, my community. I built a content hub where I share free assets, gather leads, and even host paid memberships. Then I added a booking system so people can schedule one-on-one calls with me. Easy. And third, creative ideation, a hub that lets the AI develop my core ideas. One section for brainstorming concepts, another for splitting content across different platforms. And I can always add more, like a title generator for videos, so I don't waste time stuck on headlines anymore. You know your workflow better than anyone, so take these 3 free-to-use templates I built with Base 44 and make them your own.
Music is one of the best ways to express your feelings. That's why today we're gonna do some. We gotta make it more distorted with some amps to make it really feel like a guitar. We keep stacking guitars because life is Alright, let's do the bass. To make room for the bass, we gotta cut the lows. So we're gonna do a 40 huzz. If you can't hear the difference, it's because you're on a phone and not using a headset. Hold on, let me stack another one. You know what I realized? I don't even know if these keys are actually playable.
When I get home, I want you. Hello, I got places to be.
Good evening, everybody. You're watching America First. My name is Nicholas J. Fuentes. We have a great show for you tonight.
This might even be worse.
My lover's got no money, he's got his strong beliefs. My lover's got no power, he's got his strong beliefs. My lover's got no fame, he's got his strong beliefs. My lover's got no money, he's got his strong beliefs. Want more and more, people just want more and more freedom and love. What he's looking for, want more and more, people just want more and more freedom and love. What he's looking for, freed from desire, mind and senses purified, freed from desire, mind and senses purified, freed from desire, mind and senses purified, freed from desire. Na 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 na.
If we don't have freedom on the internet in the age of AI, we are going to be mind raped every day forever. Think about anything you've ever said or done in the vicinity of your phone's camera or microphone, everything you've ever put into your phone, and even things that are not necessarily so scandalous, but even things like your favorite restaurants, your geolocation, because your phone also has a GPS. They know where you are at all times. They know where you go and when. They know what you buy. They have access to your bank account. AI will literally know everything about you. Everyone you know, your relationship to them, your tastes, your preferences, your habits, your whereabouts, your routines, your schedule, when you're asleep. They know how much REM sleep you're getting. They know your resting heart rate. They know how many calories you consume. Think about the ways that they can manipulate you. You have a computer in your refrigerator, computer in your car, computer in your home security system, computer in your everything, computer in your clothes, your watch, your glasses, your VR headset, your alarm clock. You have a smart home, economy of things. It's like total rape of everybody by the system forever. My life is like a first-person video game, you know? This is my primary. This is me walking down the hall. This is my primary weapon. Press circle to interact. Press circle to interact with this item. At the end of the day, here's the question. Is it worth it to save the country? Does the country matter? Is it worth it to preserve our civilization? Is it worth it to preserve our religion? Maybe bigger than that, is the truth worth it? What is the truth worth to you? What is telling the truth worth to you? Is it worth something, nothing? What are you willing to give to tell the truth? All you need is Jesus. All you need is prayer. These material appetites, they will never be satisfied, and even if they
Oh my
are,
God.
it'll never be an adequate substitute for communion with our Holy Father, with somebody, with the author of the world. Every mother and father understands the love for a child, and that is how we were made. We were designed that way, because through that experience, we could understand, by analogy, God's love for us. It says in Revelation that God will wipe away every tear. And that's to me, it makes me want to cry when I read that. People experience these things in their lives. We've all been there, where you feel like the whole world's against you, the walls are closing in, and you read something like that says that God, like our Father, our Creator, is going to wipe your tears off your face. Christianity is love. Our God is love.
He's back!
Jesus Christ was our past. Jesus Christ is our present now. And Jesus Christ is our future after we die on earth. We want this century to be the most Christian century in the history of planet Earth.
Well,
I'm not supposed to be here tonight. Not supposed to be here.
When I get home, I want you. Hello, I got places to be.
Good evening, everybody. You're watching America First. My name is Nicholas J. Fuentes. We have a great show for you tonight.
from his courage be pride.
Over every single
That the lion himself would learn to kneel.
They pull the strings.
That a lion would not care, even if his line died.
Things have to change.
That the lion himself would accept such a deal.
And they have to change right now.
In the end, it was only to themselves they had lied.
I am your voice.
We can't be held hostage by this country forever. When will it end? When will any leader put their foot down and reassert American sovereignty? Do we run the world or does Israel? Do we even run our own country? Do we control our own military? Do we control our own government or does Israel?
When I get home, I want you.
I'm not supposed to be here tonight. Not supposed to be here.
When I get home, I want you. Hello, I got places to be.
Good evening, everybody. You're watching America First. My name is Nicholas J. Fuentes. We have a great show for you tonight.
They believed a lion could be brought to heel.
They have total control.
That a lion could from his courage be pride.
Over every single.
That the lion himself would learn to kneel.
They pull the strings.
That a lion would not care, even if his line died.
Things have to change.
That the lion himself would accept such a deal.
And they have to change right now.
In the end, it was only to themselves they had lied.
I am your voice.
poop diddy whoop scoop, poop poop scoop diddy whoop whoop diddy scoop, whoop diddy scoop.
My lover's got no money, he's got his strong beliefs. My lover's got no power, he's got his strong beliefs. My lover's got no fame, he's got his strong beliefs. My lover's got no money, he's got his strong beliefs. Want more and more, people just want more and more freedom and love. What he's looking for, want more and more, people just want more and more freedom and love. What he's looking for, freed from desire, mind and senses purified, freed from desire, mind and senses purified, freed from desire, mind and senses purified, freed from desire. Na 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 na.
So there is something involved where we have to forgive them. We do have to forgive them for their ignorance. We do have to forgive them for their misunderstanding. And we have to embrace them and say, better late than never. Welcome to the right side of history. Welcome to our massive vision, our massive and ambitious vision for how we want the world to be.
When I get home, I want you. Hello, I got places to be.
Good evening, everybody. You're watching America First. My name is Nicholas J. Fuentes. We have a great show for you tonight.
Israel. We just lead with love.
We're really at a crossroads here. Look around you. It's drag queens in schools. It's 18-year-olds joining OnlyFans. It's the filth on TikTok. It's this country not having a border. It's the idea that our kids and we, this generation, are never going to own anything. Think about it. Never making an income to support a family. Never being able to have a family. People being corrupted before they're even a teenager by things on their phone. Sick addiction to technology. The future is so bleak. But that has changed the calculation.
God is using me. He's breaking me down, removing all of the, richest person, all of this, so I can serve him.
I think they've been extremely unfair to you.
Who is they, though? We can't tell you they is, can we?
Press.
There is no future if we do nothing now. There is nothing to lose. People that are scrambling, trying to protect their ever-shrinking share of what they have are foolish. It's all going away. This country is being ripped apart and raped and looted. We're being slowly poisoned and in some cases quickly murdered and assassinated. And we're killing ourselves every day, inadvertently, with the kinds of things that we eat and breathe and drink and see. People have got to start to radically begin to obey their conscience and tell the truth and do the right thing. People have got to start to get courageous. And this is the time for everybody to turn and look to God and to pray and to ask for strength and to ask for wisdom to get through this time and to transform and sanctify this country. And the alternative is that there will be no country. Is it really only as big as low gas prices? Is it really only so big as bringing inflation and gas prices and the